the inspiration for this session comes out of maybe one of the most famous quotes from the World Commission on Environment and Development, headed by, as at least the Norwegians know, our own Prime Minister, Gro Harlem Brundtland. The quote is as follows: "Sustainable development seeks to meet the needs and aspirations of the present without compromising the ability to meet those of the future." This is the idea that the senior generation must hand over this globe that was so precariously described yesterday by Al Gore to the next generation in a good state. And I thought the best way to do this is, in fact, to set it on scene in a literal sense, which means the young generation of students will meet today's leaders, some of them having slightly gray hair, of course, some being perhaps a bit younger. But this is basically the generation challenge then, set on stage for you, and the students asking those leaders how they will hand over their industrial sectors in an orderly state.
A lot of the companies, as you say, do partake in interventions. Still, we see that 92% of all global drug sales are to North America, Europe, and to Japan. And this means that only 8%, and that is a small amount, ladies and gentlemen, 8% is left to the rest of the world. How can you consider this good and say that we're still working on it? 8% is not enough.
Well, that reflects the fact that the rich people are in the Western world and they can pay, or their society can pay for medicine. However, just to illustrate this, the fact you're talking about sales, well, our biggest drug is the malaria drug, and we delivered 62 million treatments last year, but of course we didn't earn a cent on it, and so it doesn't appear in the markets.
But to jump in on the trust issue here, the pharmaceutical sector have a kind of a problem with a bad reputation. How are you going to improve this then?
Well, by being here, talking with you, and showing, and I think the really important thing is it should not be words, it should be, I should be able, and we should be able, to actually deliver the goods.
Could you try to elaborate more on what you are actually doing now to walk the talk, and how can we as students trust you in this, in your industry?
That's a good question. I can tell you that every year we have a process when we are working out a sustainability report, and this is the one for 2005.
It's very nice.
And I know that you have read it. It's a nice one. And that one for 2006 is coming out very soon now. And we have a thorough process, checking every sentence, every comma there, whether we are on the right track.
Because we are not convinced. And as you look up on the first page on a report, I'm not going to attack you as a company, but I guess it goes for the same for the whole of the industry, that your CO2 emissions are going up. So we would then like to ask that when do you think that the CO2 emissions can go down?
Well, we have set targets for that and reducing our CO2 emissions. But we have also an expanding activity. So related to the expansion of the activities, you will see that our CO2 emissions are going up. But if you take it on a constant level, they will go down.
Mr. Vidal, do you have any comment?
We are competing, Petrobras and Statoil are competing on this Dow Jones stuff. But you see, in the last 30 years, we have the ethanol program in which Petrobras is instrumental. Without Petrobras, the Brazilian ethanol program would not exist. We have saved in the last 30 years like 20 million tons of carbon dioxide.
Right. So your company has shown that zero emissions technology is available and is possible. So why is it not being implemented?
I think it's important to see that the ways to use renewable energy in ships are certainly there, but they are not matured yet. I mean, a lot of these energy forms will have to develop further to be able to utilize it.
Shipping has a notoriously complex ownership structure, making this very difficult. So why is shipping not more transparent?
There is efforts on the way to increase the financial transparency of shipping companies internationally. That is, there is a global focus on increased financial transparency, not connected to the shipping industry, but originated from a security point of view, which also will probably spill over to our industry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You are talking very much about the perspective of the investor.
Yes.
But we know that...
I'm an investor.
Sorry, I was referring to your client. But we know that money makes the world go round. We hope it's not going to fry it soon. But when it comes to what's more important for your companies, and I mean Storebrand and Forma Futura, what do you take into consideration? The interests of your clients, which can be any one of us, or the survival of the planet?
That's a very provoking question. And it's a good question and a very provoking question. And we all know that the fact is that we are a business enterprise. And without clients, we cannot do anything because we're out of business. We cannot do good for the planet or bad for the planet because we're out of business. So we need clients to do good for the planet. But at the same time, of course, business cannot function in societies that fails. So we have to do this in a sustainable manner.
It is estimated that between 2 and 3 billion people still lack access on a broad range of financial products and services on a sustainable basis. So how can financial institutions contribute to serve the unserved?
And, you know, the concept of lending money to people with basically zero income and no collateral is, yes, it's a new concept to banking. But it is proven to work.
Is profitability a prerequisite when serving the unserved, or is it ethically out of bounds? Idar?
We are a listed company. We are here to create value. But we are not indifferent about how we do it. So to us, yes, to be sustainable, it has to be profitable. But that is not the case for governments, for NGOs, and they can develop business models very different from ours. And I think that both business models will be needed to really make a difference.